God created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and rested on the seventh. It was not by accident, but God had a plan for earth as well as all of his creation therein. God did not create the planet to turn around and leave, but he is still present, watching every behavior and assessing every thought of each person. He knows them intimately, even the number of hairs on their head. Further, there is a day of judgment coming, and every thought and act will be held under heavenly scrutiny. Those that behave will go to heaven. Everyone else will have God's wrath poured upon them and tossed into a lake of fire. Perhaps we can call it the Inquisition 2.0, which implies that the planet Earth is quite important, even central to the theological aspects of all Abrahamic religion. However, there seems to be an interesting discrepancy when we look further into this, that Earth is not the only planet that we know of. In fact, as of March 2022, starting in 1995 with the presence of a gas giant orbiting a star called 51 Pegasi, there are currently 5,000 planets confirmed. Astronomers have a variety of strategies to detect these exoplanets. However, these few seem to be the most effective. Direct imaging. This is not at all the most common, but the most straightforward, although it may prove to be the most useful than any technique used thus far with the advent of the James Webb Telescope. It has been utilized around 62 times. Radio velocity. With this type, astronomers are utilizing what is known as the Doppler effect to detect planets. Stars aren't typically stationary if there is a planet orbiting. In fact, the planet tugs on the star as it orbits. When viewed from a telescope, these affect the star's light, or spectra. Astronomers look for these spectral wobbles by seeing a redshift, typical of objects moving away from us, and then a blue shift, typical of objects moving towards us. And if the shifts are regular, continue for days, months, or years, it is almost a certainty that there is a body orbiting the star. And lastly, transit photometry. With the advent of the Kepler telescope, this method has surpassed the latter, and it is primarily focused on the gathering of light. That is, as the beams of light enter the telescope, or the spectra of the star is observed, astronomers expect a particular amount per star. If a planet happens to be in orbit around a star as it passes over the star, this dip in luminosity can be detected. After days, months, or even years of the same dip, it is almost certainly a planet. Around 4,000 planets have been discovered with this method. When we encompass the bulk of the story, Earth is the center of God's story, as well as his plan, from man turning to sin and coming back to God via the sacrifice of his Son, the thousands of years of struggle to survive in a fallen world, all of the battles between good and evil, those that have died for God, those that have dedicated their life unto death to him, and the indescribable concern of him for us that is commonly described as almost a love story by some believers. All begs the questions: what are all these other planets for? Are they a rough draft? And if this is so, is this not a contradiction to God's omnipotence or omniscience? That is to say, how does an all-powerful and all-knowing God even make a mistake or screw up his outer space drawing? Of the 5,000 planets and the almost 4,000 planetary systems known, almost 1,000 of which have multiple planets, and specifically the planets within the habitable zone where life is possible, which theoretically could number in the billions, do they have the same story of God as us? Did their Adam and Eve also eat forbidden snacks in a garden? What is the point to make thousands and theoretically billions of other planets if Earth is the center of the cosmos, and to the extent that which God would give the church a justification in punishing people for even mentioning Earth as not the epicenter for the story of life, what is the point of making all these other planets?